So let's talk flares, shall we? Right, we're going to talk a little bit about digital matrixing and noise now in your camera. There are a lot of things that can cause digital noise, but a high ISO in low light conditions is one of the worst contributors. Digital cameras have an ISO setting ranging from about 100 to 3200. By default, your camera will automatically pick the best ISO setting for whatever you're taking a picture of. If it's a bright sunshiny day, you'll use a lower ISO. If it's low light conditions or there are a lot of shadows, it may automatically set a high ISO so it can pick up as much light and information as possible. As you can see here, one of the dangers of this is known as digital matrixing or pareidolia. It's the tendency for incorrect perception of stimulus of an object or a pattern of a meaning to the observer, such as shapes in clouds, seeing faces in inanimate objects or in abstract patterns. And as you can see here, this is off a few different Canon cameras setting the ISO settings, and as you can see on the last one, it just totally blows out with digital pixelation and noise. An example of pareidolia in a high ISO JPEG image. The shape of what appears to be a skull is partially visible, as you note in. You can't really see it there, as you note in, as you zoom in. You've taken a photo with your camera, you're in a low light conditions. Your phone or camera has introduced a lot of digital noise through high ISO, which has then been concentrated, smoothed, and modelled into patterns of shadows by the photo JPEG compression itself. You see something that looks a bit odd in the photo, you enlarge it, you zoom in. These two blotches here, or these two dark ones next to it, they could be eyes. It looks like a mouth underneath it. There you go, you've instantly got a face. Pareidolia can cause people to interpret random images or patterns of light as shadows as faces. Here you can see what appears to be a face in these images. In the mist and the smoke. These tend to be more of an issue with outdoor investigations when you're subject to temperature and changes and weather condition changes and more moisture in the air. So to be sure to do test shots, keep an eye on the weather obviously. Is the mist around you or even condensation on your lens can cause some of these effects. When myself and Rob were actually taking night shots down by a pool of water, we were doing astrophotography, a lot of the images came out with this mist on it, and that's because it got them cold. We were by a body of water and the lens was just basically condensating up. Also, your own breath can cause this kind of artefact in your image. So if you're taking a photo, hold the camera away from your mouth instead of holding it up close, because as you exhale, this can cause this effect as it reflects off the camera flash in cooler conditions. And you might not even be able to see your own breath in there, but the camera will pick it up. So also be aware of smoking and vaping. This kind of smoke does hang around in the air longer, although you might not be able to see it with the naked eye anymore, like your moisture particles. It can get illuminated by the flash, and your brain can interpret that as all sorts of patterns. That's just another one there. Here we have an example of a high ISO low light JPEG compression. Will give you an illusion of an apparition in the figure. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. You see it there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was actually one of mine at Holy Trinity Church years and years ago when I just started out. When you zoom in, you degrade the image, unfortunately, and what you can see appears to be an apparition when in fact it was a combination of two gravestones and the hedge behind it. But because of the digital noise and the matrixing, we think we've captured a ghost. So it looks like a figure of a woman, doesn't it? And you're in a notoriously haunted graveyard, so it's a ghost. Here we have an image that was in the press, what appears to be a figure of a woman standing on the roof of Sudbury Lunatic Asylum. I don't know, can you see her there? Standing on the roof? Again, we see the combination of low light, high ISO and distorted cropped image of what appears to be a woman on the roof, when in fact the ghostly female patient turns out to be?
Yeah, it's a chimney.
Chimney stack. So you can see how easily you can be fooled in these low light conditions with a high noise image.